Yara and Jovi did not enter this franchise as chaos merchants. When they first showed up, the story felt simple. A long-distance couple. Different cultures, different tempers, a lot of eye-rolling. Yara was blunt, sharp, fashion-focused, and allergic to nonsense. Jovi was the party guy with a paycheck and a suitcase. Viewers clocked them fast. They argued. They made up. They rolled their eyes at each other. Then they married. Then they had a baby. For reality TV standards, that already puts them ahead of the curve. Back then, immigration was part of the plot, but it stayed procedural. Forms. Waiting. Stressful days. No sirens, no panic. It sat in the background like a low hum. Yara spoke openly about leaving her home, learning a new country, adjusting to a partner who traveled for work. Jovi complained about responsibility while learning it anyway. The visa storyline existed, but it never defined them. Their drama lived in tone, trust, and timing, not paperwork. And Yara was loud in those seasons. Not reckless, but confident. She spoke her mind. She corrected Jovi on camera. She laughed at criticism. She posted freely online. Even when fans dragged her, she fired back with sarcasm. That energy mattered, because reality TV teaches viewers to measure fear by silence. Loud means safe. Quiet means something broke. And that shift from loud to quiet is where this story starts to feel heavy. Fast forward to recent months, and the contrast feels sharp. Yara pulled back. Fewer posts. Less commentary. When she did appear, the tone changed. Short captions. Neutral faces. No clapbacks. Jovi, who usually jokes through discomfort, stopped joking. Fans noticed before blogs did. The smiles looked tighter. Lives ended early. Topics changed mid-sentence. Not scandal behavior. Stress behavior. This matters because viewers know their patterns. Yara never played mystery for attention. If she wanted buzz, she knew how to spark it. Silence did not serve her brand, which makes the silence interesting and uneasy. Jovi's shift stands out too. He usually explains too much, defends too fast. This time, he deflected. When comments brought up visas or rumors, he went stiff. No humor, no rants. Sometimes the stream ended. That behavior signals pressure, not guilt. Pressure. Because when people feel safe, they talk. When pressure hits, they shrink. Looking back at their run on the show, immigration stress already existed in small ways. Yara talked about missing Europe. She traveled back when allowed. She worried about being stuck. She worried about losing independence. Those fears aired on screen. Nothing hidden. Nothing sneaky. It read as emotional adjustment, not manipulation. The franchise even leaned into it. Episodes framed her struggle as cultural loss. Leaving family. Raising a child far from home. Those scenes built sympathy. TLC packaged it as growth, not danger, not threat. So when fans suddenly jump from that history straight into words like deportation or fraud, the leap feels massive and unnatural. The timeline between confident public figure and silent target matters. People do not erase themselves online overnight without a reason. Light humor used to cushion their tension. Jovi would joke. Yara would sigh. Viewers laughed. Now the humor faded. That absence tells a story on its own. And absence always invites theories, even when facts stay quiet. Here is where familiarity turns uneasy. Fans think they know these two. Years of episodes create a false intimacy. Viewers feel entitled to answers. When answers do not arrive, speculation fills the gap. But familiarity also sharpens fear, because watchers recognize when behavior shifts from normal drama into something else. Nothing public shows wrongdoing. No statements. No documents. No confirmed action. Only a change in tone. And tone carries weight in reality TV. Jovi also faces a different role now. Father. Provider. Partner under scrutiny. His job already pulls him away physically. Add online pressure, and the cracks show faster. Stress does not explode. It compresses. People go quiet. Defensiveness replaces jokes. This context matters before any rumor enters the chat. Because without it, viewers misread fear as strategy. silence as guilt. And that shortcut hurts real people. And this is where the comfort of knowing them turns into discomfort about what pushed them here. Something shifted, not on camera, not in confessionals, off screen, quietly. Whatever landed, it hit hard enough to change how both move in public. That is the open loop. Not the paperwork, not the blogs, the moment when confidence folded inward. Because couples used to chaos do not freeze unless the ground moves. The moment whispers surfaced online, control slipped away from the people living the story. A single post inside a private Facebook group set the tone. No proof, no context, just a claim paired with a blurry screenshot. The language stayed slippery. Allegedly. Sources say, a friend of a friend. Screenshots carry power even without verification, because images feel final. Words feel optional. Once one group shared the image, others followed. Blogs hungry for traffic repeated the same lines with louder headlines. Each repost shaved away caution and added confidence. And once screenshots replace patience, truth loses oxygen. What matters here is speed. Online drama moves faster than verification ever does. A rumor jumps from a closed group into public feeds within hours. Then comes the copy cycle. Blog echoes blog. Commentary channels repeat each other. Phrases harden. Allegedly fades. Suspicion turns into assumption. By the time viewers scroll past the fifth headline, uncertainty feels settled. No one pauses to ask who started the story or why. The internet rewards repetition, not restraint. Facebook groups play a key role. Many fans join those spaces seeking community. Shared obsession. Group rules promise safety. Still, group dynamics push escalation. One person drops a hint, others pile on with guesses. Screenshots of screenshots appear. Context disappears. Doubt sounds like defense. Skepticism earns suspicion. Group culture rewards the loudest voice, not the careful one. This is how chaos outruns facts without asking permission. Blogs then step in and dress speculation as reporting. Headlines stretch. Words like leak or file grab attention. Screenshots become evidence without confirmation. The story gains legs even while details stay foggy. Readers skim. Few read disclaimers. Fewer still check sources. By nightfall, comment sections argue about consequences rather than accuracy. Sympathy and suspicion rise together. Some fans defend Yara, pointing to years of open living on camera. Others argue silence signals guilt. Both sides feel sure. Neither side holds proof. Empathy and judgment share the same feed. People scroll while forming verdicts between coffee sips. Skepticism deserves space here. Screenshots travel without metadata. Images lose origin. A crop removes context. A blur hides dates. Screenshots alone do not equal confirmation. Yet visual content convinces faster than written caution ever will. A rectangle on a screen feels official even when origin stays unknown. And fear spreads faster than clarity ever does. Online judgment rarely waits for people at the center to speak. Silence becomes fuel. Silence reads as strategy. Silence reads as fear. Silence reads as guilt. In reality, silence often equals advice from lawyers or exhaustion or protection for family. None of those options trend. Silence lacks spectacle. The volume overwhelms. Once a rumor hits scale, stepping in feels risky. Any response invites dissection. Every word faces screenshot treatment. Silence feels safer even while silence sharpens speculation. A cruel loop forms. Speak and risk distortion. Stay quiet and invite judgment. Comment sections show the shift. Early replies ask questions. Later replies declare conclusions. By day 2, certainty dominates. People talk about consequences as if paperwork already stamped. No agency confirms anything. Still, belief spreads. Screenshots circulate with captions stripped of doubt. Algorithms reward engagement. Outrage travels further than nuance. And algorithms do not care about accuracy. Empathy gets complicated here. Fans feel invested after years of watching. Investment breeds entitlement. Viewers feel owed answers. When answers do not arrive, frustration grows. Frustration morphs into accusation. Accusation masks concern. The line between care and cruelty blurs fast. Skepticism deserves equal airtime. Public figures face scrutiny, yet public speculation without proof harms real families. A rumor online does not stay online. Children feel tension. Partners feel pressure. Careers wobble. Screens hide faces behind words. Consequences stay offline. This spiral explains why leaks hold danger even when false. Control vanishes once rumor enters circulation. No statement can fully rewind the spread. Corrections travel slower than claims. Silence feeds the fire. Speaking risks misquote. Every option carries cost. And this spiral tightens hardest around silence. As days pass without comment, speculation sharpens. Fans search old posts. Timestamps become clues. Normal travel photos become evidence. Memory rewrites itself to fit fear. Each gap invites invention. The story grows independent of facts. Silence then transforms into the loudest sound in the room. When outside noise gets loud, people reveal stress through small shifts, not dramatic confessions. Jovi's public behavior started to show those shifts, not explosions, contractions. The jokes dried up first. Humor used to be his shield. A quick laugh. A deflection. A shrug that said nothing gets under my skin. That tone softened into something tighter. Replies shortened. Smiles looked practiced. The energy that once filled space now avoided it. That change stands out because avoidance is his pattern under pressure. When overwhelmed, he does not explode. He minimizes. He goes quiet. He redirects. Fans who have watched him for years recognize that move. It is the emotional equivalent of turning down the volume rather than changing the song. And when humor disappears, it usually means the joke stopped being funny to the person telling it. Public comments showed defensiveness without aggression. No rants, no call-outs, just clipped responses that felt like someone conserving energy. One-line answers, neutral emojis, streams that ended early. None of that proves wrongdoing. All of it points to stress management. Stress compresses behavior. It makes people choose silence over explanation. Parenthood amplifies that compression. Being responsible for a child changes how risk feels. What once looked like internet noise now feels closer. Comments carry weight when a family sits behind the screen. Jovi is no longer just managing his image. He is managing a household, a partner, a child, and a job that already pulls him away physically. That stack bends anyone. Pressure does not always break people loudly. Sometimes it bends them inward. Yara's silence compounds that pressure. When one partner retreats publicly, the other absorbs the heat. Jovi becomes the visible shield. Fans direct questions at him. He fields assumptions. Even neutral curiosity lands heavy when repeated thousands of times. Defensiveness becomes less about hiding and more about survival. There is also emotional avoidance at play. Jovi has never been the partner who processes out loud. He postpones emotional conversations. He prefers action over dialogue. That trait once fueled conflict with Yara. Under normal circumstances, it reads as immaturity. Under extraordinary stress, it reads as self-preservation. Lightly roasting that avoidance feels fair. He would rather board a flight than sit in discomfort. He would rather joke than unpack fear. He would rather work than explain feelings. Those habits work until they do not. When outside pressure enters a marriage, avoidance stops protecting and starts isolating. And isolation inside a marriage feels heavier than isolation online. Audience relatability plays a role here. Viewers project their own stress responses onto him. Some recognize the shutdown. Others judge it. Both reactions come from familiarity. Fans see pieces of themselves in his retreat. Stress at work, family pressure. The instinct to say less, not more. What goes unseen is how couples handle pressure when cameras are off. Outside speculation becomes a third presence in the relationship. Conversations change tone. Reassurance competes with exhaustion. One partner wants to ignore the noise. The other feels consumed by it. Neither approach is wrong. Together, they clash. Public pressure forces alignment decisions. Do we respond together? Do we stay silent together? Do we protect peace or clarity? Every option creates friction. Silence feels safe until it feels suffocating. Speaking feels risky until it feels necessary. Couples fracture when timing mismatches. Because stress tests not love, but communication under fear. Jovi's behavior suggests containment, holding things in, protecting the perimeter. That strategy works short-term. Long-term, containment leaks. The absence of jokes hints at internal conversations viewers do not hear. Responsibility weighs heavier when the internet watches. None of this implies collapse. It implies strain. And strain changes posture. People hunch emotionally. They conserve. They guard. They stop performing for comfort. Reality TV trains audiences to expect breakdowns or confessions. Real relationships rarely offer either on schedule. The danger comes when outside narratives start defining internal reality, when couples feel spoken about rather than listened to. Pressure from speculation forces defensive unity or silent distance. Both options cost something, and the real tension is not what the internet believes, but how much pressure a marriage can absorb before it changes shape. Because couples do not fracture from one rumor. They fracture from living too long inside the echo of it. Reality television sells access, not protection. That line matters when silence stretches on. Networks rarely speak during uncertainty, not out of cruelty, but calculation. Silence is risk management. When a situation feels unstable or legally sensitive, distance becomes policy. TLC has practiced this move for years. Not statements, not clarifications, just space. Let the noise burn itself out. This absence reads loud to viewers. Fans expect reaction. A teaser, a denial, something. Instead, nothing arrives. That nothing is deliberate. Networks do not rush toward stories that might change shape tomorrow. They step back. They wait. They watch sentiment. They protect the brand first. Because when risk enters the frame, the camera does not lean in. It steps away. Editing choices reveal this posture. When cast members face potential controversy, storylines thin out. Screen time softens. Focus shifts elsewhere. It is not punishment. It is insulation. Networks remove variables that could explode later. This pattern repeats across franchises. When pressure spikes, presence fades. That fade creates a vacuum. Viewers fill it with theories. Silence reads as confirmation. In reality, it often signals legal caution. Contracts tighten. Public relations teams slow everything down. The machine that once amplified personalities suddenly minimizes them. Reality TV ethics sit in this gray zone. Networks profit from intimacy, yet retreat when intimacy gets complicated. Cameras chase conflict but avoid liability. Cast members sign up for exposure, not abandonment. When the spotlight moves on, people remain inside the consequences. And that is where the imbalance shows. Production companies control narrative without owning aftermath. They film, they edit, they air, then they exit. Cast members carry the weight. Public perception lingers long after episodes stop. Silence from the network does not equal neutrality. It shapes the story by omission. This is not accusation. It is structure. Reality TV operates on risk thresholds. Once a storyline crosses into uncertainty, it becomes expendable. No villain edit, no redemption arc, just quiet removal. Fans notice when faces disappear without explanation. The industry frames this as protection. Protecting the show, protecting advertisers, protecting future seasons. Individual well-being rarely ranks first. That priority mismatch becomes clear when silence stretches longer than comfort. Because the system is designed to move on, not to look back. Cast members exist inside contracts that outlast support. Once filming wraps, guidance thins. When public pressure hits off-season, individuals navigate alone. Networks do not intervene unless the brand faces damage. Ethics stop where liability begins. Editing also shapes memory. Without new footage, older scenes resurface. Fans rewatch with bias. Past jokes become clues. Old arguments gain new meaning. The network does not correct reinterpretation. They benefit from engagement regardless of accuracy. This distance sharpens power imbalance. One side controls distribution. The other absorbs reaction. Silence protects the machine, not the people inside it. That truth feels uncomfortable because viewers invest emotionally. Investment creates expectation. Expectation meets corporate restraint. Reality TV thrives on proximity. The closer the camera, the higher the profit. Yet when proximity invites unpredictability, distance restores control. The show continues. The franchise expands. Individuals manage fallout quietly. And once cameras stop caring, the noise does not. TLC's silence does not confirm anything. It signals caution. But caution without care leaves cast members exposed to speculation without support. That gap defines the pressure cooker. Fame without backing. Visibility without voice. The industry will not explain this. It will not announce boundaries. It will simply move forward. New episodes. New faces. The system survives by forgetting faster than the audience does. And when the machine moves on, those still standing inside the echo learn who protection was really built for. Something shifts when audiences stop watching and start investigating. Curiosity hardens into purpose. Fans become archivists. Screenshots replace memory. Timelines get rebuilt like crime boards. A casual post from months ago becomes a clue. A smile gets analyzed. A location tag turns suspicious. None of this starts maliciously. It starts as interest. Wanting to understand. Wanting clarity. Then the tone changes. Curiosity begins wearing the costume of justice. And justice feels powerful when it has a crowd. Screenshot culture accelerates that feeling. Screenshots freeze moments without context. They travel fast. They feel permanent. A screenshot looks like proof even when it proves nothing. People trust images more than explanations. An image does not stutter. It does not hedge. It does not say maybe. It just exists. Clean. Cropped. Convincing. Timelines give screenshots meaning. Fans line up dates. Compare captions. Measure gaps. Silence becomes suspicious. Normal behavior starts looking strategic. The internet rewards this work. Likes validate theories. Shares crown detectives. Attention turns speculation into performance. And performance thrives on certainty, not doubt. This is where moral panic enters quietly. Once a rumor suggests wrongdoing, the group frames itself as protectors. Protecting the show. Protecting the system. Protecting imagined victims. The cause feels righteous. The language shifts. People stop asking what happened and start asking who deserves consequences. At that point, questioning the rumor feels like betrayal. Skepticism sounds like defense. Empathy sounds like denial. The group narrows. Dissent exits. Panic feeds itself. Pause here. This part matters. Because if you are watching this, you are part of the audience too. Not accused. Included. Everyone scrolls. Everyone reacts. Everyone feels that pull to know more. That urge does not make anyone bad. It makes us human. Pattern-seeking. Story-hungry. Uncomfortable with ambiguity. But discomfort is where responsibility lives. It feels good to believe investigation equals accountability. That watching closely keeps systems honest. Sometimes it does. Often it does not. Most of the time, it just creates pressure without protection. The crowd does not carry consequences. Individuals do. Online justice rarely asks what happens if we are wrong. Screenshots do not apologize. Timelines do not retract. Once suspicion sticks, it lingers. Even when proven false, the stain remains. Search results remember. Comments resurface. Whispers outlive corrections. People confuse attention with action. Talking feels like doing something. Speculating feels like helping. In reality, it often just multiplies harm, especially when targets stay silent. Silence frustrates the crowd because silence removes feedback. No denial to dissect, no apology to critique, no statement to tear apart. Silence blocks engagement. The crowd pushes harder, the hunt intensifies, and pressure escalates when no one pushes back. Moral panic thrives on urgency. It frames delay as danger. Waiting feels irresponsible. Acting fast feels moral. But speed sacrifices accuracy. Speed flattens nuance. Speed turns people into symbols. That is the uncomfortable mirror. The same instincts that make reality TV addictive make online judgment dangerous. Emotional investment, narrative hunger, the need for villains and resolutions. Real life rarely provides clean endings on demand. Self-awareness does not mean disengagement. It means slowing the reflex, asking why a story feels satisfying, noticing when curiosity shifts into entitlement, recognizing when speculation stops serving truth and starts serving adrenaline. Because outrage can feel productive even when it produces nothing but damage. There is also fear underneath. Fear that systems fail. Fear that wrongdoing hides in plain sight. Fear that silence protects power. Those fears are not imagined. They are learned. But fear does not justify flattening people into rumors. Here is the twist most audiences miss. Innocence does not shield anyone once rumor attaches. The internet does not require verdicts. It operates on vibes. Suspicion alone alters lives. Jobs change. Relationships strain. Mental health frays. Even if nothing happened, something still breaks. This is the cost of mob certainty. Not that it sometimes gets things wrong, but that even when it gets things wrong, it rarely stops. And once a rumor sticks, the truth has to work harder than the lie ever did. Immigration fear does not need wrongdoing to exist. It grows in uncertainty. Reviews happen quietly. Questions arrive without warning. Processes move slowly and without emotion. People imagine punishment because the system rarely explains itself in real time. Silence from authorities does not mean safety or danger. It just means waiting. Waiting is where anxiety lives. For immigrants, paperwork is not just forms. It represents stability, home, family, the right to stay where your life now exists. Even routine reviews can feel threatening because the stakes are personal. A letter can change sleep patterns. A delay can spiral into worst-case thinking. None of that requires guilt. It requires vulnerability. And vulnerability feels sharper when the internet is watching. Reviews are part of many systems. They can be random. They can be procedural. They can be triggered by timing rather than behavior. Most never lead anywhere dramatic. But people do not experience them statistically. They experience them emotionally. Every unknown becomes heavy. Every unanswered question grows louder. Silence often equals stress, not strategy. When people stop speaking publicly, it is rarely because they know something bad will happen. It is because they do not know what will happen. Uncertainty drains energy. It narrows focus. People conserve words because words feel risky when outcomes feel fragile. For public figures, that stress doubles. They carry personal fear alongside public interpretation. A normal review feels abnormal when thousands speculate. Each comment sharpens nerves. Each headline reframes fear as scandal. The internal experience does not match the external noise. Fear does not need facts to feel real. Immigration processes do not move on social media timelines. They do not respond to pressure. They do not speed up because people demand answers. They exist in offices and databases and queues. That mismatch frustrates audiences who expect resolution. Real systems rarely provide it cleanly. Families feel the cost first. Tension creeps into conversations. Planning feels tentative. Decisions pause. People avoid speaking too confidently about the future because confidence feels risky. That emotional freeze looks suspicious to outsiders. Inside, it feels like caution. The human cost of uncertainty rarely trends. Anxiety does not screenshot well. Stress does not look dramatic on camera. It looks like fatigue, like restraint, like someone choosing quiet over connection. Those behaviors invite misinterpretation because audiences expect performance. But fear turns performers into private people. There is also the weight of reputation. Once rumors circulate, people worry about being misunderstood by systems that value clarity. Even when nothing is wrong, the fear of being misread adds pressure. That pressure does not mean consequences are coming. It means the mind cannot rest. Legal fear without legal claims feels invisible, yet constant. It hums beneath daily life. People check phones too often. They reread messages. They avoid unnecessary attention. Silence becomes a form of self-protection. No prediction belongs here. Outcomes cannot be guessed. Systems resolve in their own time. Most stories end quietly. But the waiting changes people regardless of result. Anxiety leaves marks even when relief arrives later. And fame makes waiting louder. Public life magnifies private fear. Fame invites commentary into moments that require calm. Instead of space, there is noise. Instead of patience, there is pressure. That collision drains resilience. What matters is understanding that fear does not equal fault. Silence does not equal admission. Uncertainty does not equal doom. They simply describe being human inside systems that do not speak back. And when a life built in front of cameras collides with paperwork that moves in silence, the question is not what happens next, but how much of the waiting a person can carry before it changes them. The tone shifts when people slow down. Panic runs fast. Reflection takes time. Once the noise fades a little, another possibility creeps in. Not scandal, not punishment. Something smaller. Something boring. A clerical issue, a timing mismatch, a database hiccup, the kind of problem nobody talks about because it lacks drama. Boring problems still hurt. Paperwork errors happen more than people admit. Names get flagged. Dates misalign. Systems misread entries. Humans process information under pressure. None of this feels cinematic. None of this sells clicks, yet lives pause over issues like this every day. And boring explanations rarely trend. Public reaction rarely waits for clarity. The internet fills silence with certainty. Screenshots become evidence. Reposts feel like research. The story grows legs before facts arrive. Once momentum builds, stepping back feels like losing face. People double down rather than reconsider. Media ecosystems reward urgency, not accuracy, not patience. Content moves faster than confirmation. When attention becomes currency, fear converts well. Outrage spreads. Nuance stalls. A possible error turns into a moral trial. This is where discomfort creeps in. Viewers begin to feel the weight of participation. Watching turns into judging. Sharing turns into sentencing. The story stops being about truth and starts being about reaction. Relief arrives quietly. Guilt arrives slower. When softer explanations appear, they do not erase damage. The stress already lived. The reputation already bent. The relationships already strained. Correction never travels as far as accusation. Even when nothing happened, something changed. Public figures absorb that impact first, but audiences share it too. The moment invites self-awareness. How quickly did certainty replace curiosity? How easily did speculation feel responsible? How natural did judgment feel when wrapped in concern? This is not about blame. It is about pattern. People react the way systems train them to react. Algorithms reward speed. Drama pays rent. Calm costs attention. Nobody wakes up planning harm. Harm happens when reaction outruns reflection. And once a narrative sticks, peeling it back feels awkward. There is also the human reflex to protect ego. Admitting overreaction feels uncomfortable. So people pivot, they minimize, they move on. The story fades without apology. The emotional bill stays unpaid. Media cycles thrive on this gap. They profit from heat, then vanish during cooling. Responsibility diffuses. No single actor owns the fallout. The machine keeps moving. The emotional turn sits here, between fear and relief, between certainty and doubt, between judgment and empathy. It is not clean. It does not resolve neatly. It lingers. People involved continue living under that shadow. Viewers carry a quieter weight. Awareness replaces thrill. Caution replaces confidence. The story loses speed but gains depth. And somewhere inside that slowdown, the realization lands that uncertainty weaponized by attention leaves marks long after the noise fades. And not all damage announces itself. when the truth finally catches up. Silence is survival. When the world yells, stepping back can feel like weakness, but it is often strength. In Yara and Jovi's case, choosing not to respond publicly is not avoidance. It is breathing space. It is protecting what matters most while the storm rages online. Every post, every comment, every speculation invites judgment. Every explanation risks distortion. Sometimes the quietest choice carries the heaviest weight. Silence can speak louder than any headline. The internet moves fast. Rumors ignite before reality can catch up. Screenshots are interpreted as facts. Tweets become evidence. Fans dissect past appearances, old interviews. Every minor detail becomes a piece of a puzzle. In that environment, speaking can feel like handing your own life over to public scrutiny. One wrong word can spiral into weeks of speculation, harassment, and emotional exhaustion. Jovi's defensive tone and short replies reflect more than frustration. They reveal protective instincts. They show the human cost of exposure. Parenting under that lens intensifies the pressure. Every decision is amplified, every misstep magnified. The audience sees glimpses of stress, but the private fear remains mostly unseen. That contrast, the loud chaos outside and the quiet tension inside, is what defines this chapter of their story. Privacy becomes a rare currency in a world that trades attention for clicks. The choice to remain silent is not absence. It is action. It is strategic. It allows space to process, to consult, to plan next steps without interference. Yet it comes with emotional cost. Watching accusations and speculations unfold without defending oneself is painful. It tests trust in loved ones, in legal counsel, in institutions meant to safeguard, and in personal resilience. Silence also forces reflection. Fans who pause begin to notice the subtle signals, the withdrawn smiles, the tension in casual exchanges, the brief flashes of unease in interviews. Those who watch closely can sense the gap between perception and reality. Human behavior is rich in nuance, and silence preserves that nuance against distortion. Sometimes not saying anything is the only way to stay intact. Still, silence does not equal emptiness. Every quiet moment carries emotion, fear, anxiety, hope, uncertainty, resilience. It is heavy, layered, and raw. It allows processing of external pressures while keeping the internal life safe. In a story dominated by noise, quiet is both shield and mirror. It reflects who they are when the world isn't watching and shows how human vulnerability persists behind every public persona. Even without commentary, the audience begins to empathize. They see patience under strain, courage under scrutiny, and determination despite uncertainty. Silence becomes a narrative device in itself. It tells of endurance, of survival, and of love tested by forces beyond domestic life. In stillness, you see the stakes, the strategy, and the humanity. By choosing silence, Yara and Jovi remind everyone that not every story is for public consumption. Not every reaction belongs online. Sometimes, holding back is the loudest statement possible. It is protection, preservation, and subtle defiance. And when the world finally pauses, that quiet holds more meaning than any viral post, trending hashtag, or headline ever could. Fame always comes with a cost, and for Yara and Jovi, the price has been unexpectedly high. Weeks of rumors, silent struggles, and the relentless pressure of public speculation have tested their patience, their trust, and their emotional resilience. Every leak, every social media post, every comment that suggested wrongdoing carried weight far beyond what most fans could imagine. It's one thing to watch drama unfold on TV, it's another to live it, where every decision is amplified and privacy feels like a luxury no longer accessible. Even the smallest misstep in public can feel like a landslide in private. The threads that started online, screenshots, vague claims, fan theories, wove themselves into the lives of the couple in ways that couldn't be undone. Rumors shaped the tone of their days, influenced their interactions, and forced both of them to navigate the world through a lens of caution. Jovi's terse social media replies, his protective tone, and his effort to shield Yara weren't overreactions, they were survival instincts. And Yara's silence, her retreat from public scrutiny, wasn't surrender. It was a measured, strategic choice to safeguard herself and her family. Every episode the cameras captured in the past seemed almost carefree compared to the tension now. The confident, sometimes playful persona presented on screen contrasts sharply with the private reality of fearing that a document, a timestamp, or a misinterpreted trip could threaten their life together in the U.S. The public sees edited scenes, sound bites, and dramatized conflicts. But behind the cameras, fear is quiet and heavy. That gap between perception and reality is one of the cruel ironies of reality television. What the audience consumes as entertainment is often someone else's real-life stress magnified. Yet, amid all the pressure, there are lessons that emerge naturally. Silence can be a powerful tool. Boundaries are essential in a world that blurs private and public life. Not everything needs an explanation to satisfy curiosity, and sometimes protecting your emotional and legal safety is more important than appeasing speculation. Yara and Jovi demonstrate that resilience is built quietly, through deliberate choices rather than performative drama. Fans may argue, debate, and dissect, but the reality is that human behavior under extreme external pressure is complex, nuanced, and rarely binary. When speculation dominates, clarity is delayed, and emotional costs rise for everyone involved. Even with relief that some uncertainties might be administrative errors, the couple now navigates the aftermath of weeks of heightened attention. The fear, the stress, the constant scrutiny, it leaves marks that aren't easily erased. But there's a subtle power in having endured. Lessons about fame, control, and the fragility of public perception linger longer than any viral headline. Audiences who reflect carefully might recognize the broader truth. Reality TV offers exposure, but it does not come with protection from the consequences of that exposure. Looking forward, the story doesn't fully close. Fame will continue to intersect with private life. Every new season, every new spin-off, and every unedited moment captured on camera carries potential for tension, scrutiny, or controversy. For Yara and Jovi, the next challenge isn't just about paperwork, it's about navigating the ongoing imbalance between being public figures and private individuals. The quiet moments, the decisions not broadcast, the careful management of information, these are as much a part of their journey as any televised argument or happy reunion. The true story exists between what the cameras catch and what the world doesn't see. And that brings the narrative full circle. The loops of panic, rumor, silence, and strategic action tie together in a way that shows both the human cost of fame and the resilience that emerges from it. Viewers are left with a mix of relief and lingering curiosity. They understand that while some crises may resolve, others will evolve, and the pressure of public attention never fully disappears. That tension between closure and ongoing uncertainty is what keeps reality TV compelling, but also what makes it profoundly challenging for those living inside it. As the camera metaphorically turns away from Yara and Jovi for now, the story leaves an open invitation. Next up, another 90-day fiancé couple faces pressures that blur boundaries, test loyalty, and challenge both personal and public expectations. The stakes are different, but the pattern remains. Fame amplifies mistakes, scrutiny magnifies fear, and private lives are never fully insulated from public curiosity. Reality TV may capture moments, but it never captures the full human experience behind them. By understanding the choices Yara and Jovi made, when to speak, when to retreat, when to protect themselves, audiences gain more than gossip. They gain perspective. They see how behavior responds to pressure, how love persists under duress, and how life behind the camera is rarely as simple as it seems on screen. This payoff satisfies the emotional thread, while naturally leading into the next story, one where fame and pressure will collide again, and where viewers will be invited to witness another human struggle layered with tension, empathy, and the unrelenting pace of reality television.